I'll call this meeting to order. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we acknowledge the town of Edson is located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral lands of the Niqawak, Soto, Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and the Apitimisawak Métis Nations. We honor the knowledge of this land, the elders and youth which gather here, and our ancestors who have gathered here for centuries. Can I get a motion, please, that the agenda for the November 19th, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted with the addition of a closed session item under section 24 of the FOIPAC, advice from officials? Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the adoption agenda with the addition.
Thank you. All those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Can I get a motion that the minutes of the November 5th, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Taylor.
I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any modifications to said minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Can I get a motion, please, that the minutes of the November 13th, 2024 budget meeting be adopted as presented? Go ahead, Councillor Bevan.
I'll make it so.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan. Any changes to said minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. We have no public hearings, no presentations and delegations. We will move on to bylaws, and we have the draft legislative framework policy, LD7, and presenting on this evening, Amanda Veerboom, our legislative officer.
Thank you. Just going to get my screen share going. Okay. So the Town of Edson utilizes municipal documents, including bylaws, policies, and procedures. The draft legislative framework policy establishes a governance framework for municipal documents and provides guidance to the town staff for developing municipal documents and ensuring they are clear, concise, incorporate best practices, and reflect the community's needs. This policy aims to streamline the development and maintenance of municipal documents in our organization. The draft legislative framework policy was presented at the November 12th Committee of the Whole meeting for feedback, and today I'm here to present the policy to Council for consideration. The draft policy outlines the creation and maintenance of municipal documents, including bylaws, council policies, administrative policies, and procedures, as well as the responsibility for municipal departments, the legislative officer, and the chief administrative officer. The town develops municipal documents to formalize direction and processes for town operations in accordance with the MGA and any other applicable legislation. This policy clearly defines document hierarchy and classification for municipal documents. Bylaws are passed through council after 3 readings in accordance with the procedures legislated by the MGA and focus on municipal legislation to establish rules, regulations, programs, or fees applicable to the community as a whole. Council policies are established based on a strategic goal or objective as determined by council and are approved by council resolution. Council policies may be established for a number of reasons, including matters relating specifically to council operations, where there's a statutory requirement to do so, to define and clarify service levels, standards, requirements, or guidelines pertinent to town functions, or to mitigate risk and liability for the town. Administrative policies are established by the CAO and are operational in nature. They support internal policies and programs and are within the discretion and jurisdiction of the CAO. Identifying policies as council or administrative will allow for a smoother and quicker implementation process. Procedures are established by administration upon the approval of the chief administrative officer, but are not necessary to accompany bylaws or procedure or policies. They generally include more detailed or technical information on processes to assist in achieving the goals and bylaws of policies. All municipal documents will undergo regular reviews every 3 years at a minimum and will follow the same hierarchy and classification as the new documents. Amending documents will detail information being amended and receive a new identifying number. However, the original document and identifying number will remain active. And superseded or repealed documents are no longer valid and their identifying numbers are retired. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Verboom. Council, do you have any questions before we take a motion? Seeing none, I will take a motion, please. So moved. Councillor Chenard, go ahead.
I'll make the motion for the,
To approve the legislative
The
framework
approved-
policy,
yes.
LD7 as presented. All right,
that's the one I was
thank you
looking
very
for.
much,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. And next, we have a meeting cancellation. I don't know if Amanda really needs to speak to this. Can I get a motion, please, that council cancel the budget meeting scheduled for Tuesday, November 26, 2024 at 7 p.m. in council chambers? Go ahead, Councillor Pisichny.
Yeah, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Pisichny. All those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Next up, 2024 uncollectible accounts. Ms. Tricia Papke, our accounting supervisor, will be presenting on this tonight. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the town of Edson has many types of receivable accounts which we monitor regularly in the finance department. Despite all collection efforts that are put forward, there are some accounts that just will remain or be uncollectible for different reasons. Tonight, administration has brought forward the 2024 uncollectible accounts, which total for this year $2,768.93, and ask that council direct administration to write off the uncollectible accounts as presented.
All right, thank you very much for that, Ms. Papke. Council, do you have any questions? I think this is a lot less than a few years ago. We saw a pretty hefty one, but we changed some procedures and policies at the landfill, which I think has significantly reduced the risk for us. So with that, I will take a motion, please. Go ahead, Councillor Chachka.
I move that council authorize administration to write off the 2024 uncollectible accounts as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Chachka. Council, any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. If I can just get you to turn off that microphone for me, please. Thank you. Up next, the agent program. Presenting tonight, our Enforcement Services Manager, Mr. Eric Christensen. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councilors. I am here tonight to bring forward the agent program for your consideration. Business o- oh. Sorry. Business owners have reported an increase in encampments on their properties, which is a raising concern about how the presence of unhoused individuals and encampments affects the customer perception of safety. Unlike public spaces, addressing encampments on private property is a little bit more complex. On November 12th, administration presented this issue to the Committee of the Whole, which showed a strong support of the agent program, a proposed solution to help manage these challenges. The agent program operates under two legal frameworks, which is the Alberta Trespass to Premises Act and the Petty Trespass Acts. These laws guide how we handle situations involving loitering on private property. Under the program, peace officers, which includes the community peace officers and the RCMP members, will now be able to act as agents of the property and act on behalf of the business owners. This streamlines the process, making it easier to address trespassing issues on a timely manner. This program aims to strengthen community safety and collaboration between local businesses and enforcement agencies, ensuring a secure environment for all residents and visitors of Edson. How do businesses get involved? Business owners interested in participating in the agent program can request an agent form by contacting enforcement services. Along with this form, businesses will receive an agent sticker, which I have a larger copy of what the sticker would look like. So this is a larger one. These would be used for maybe on the back doors, or if they want them for the windows. The other ones we'll be getting will be about 3 inches by 4 inches approximately for the doors. So And I can pass this around if anybody wants to see it. And it will be prominently at their main entrance, which will include their participation in the program and give peace officers a visual identification or indication that they are part of the agent program. Participating business owners can authorize enforcement services and RCMP to act as their agents, allowing for immediate action against individuals who disrupt their operations or are otherwise unwelcome. This designation enhances the ability of local businesses to maintain a safe and secure environment. While the program empowers peace officers to enforce the trespass acts, businesses will still be required to contact the RCMP and/or enforcement services when unauthorized individuals are observed on their property. This program allows peace officers to deal with the trespassers before, during, and after hours of the business during routine patrols. This protocol enables officers to remove individuals effectively and without interference. It is also important for the businesses to understand the limitations of the involved departments. Responsibility of cleanup after removal from the business property, according to the community standards bylaw. The responsibility for cleanup rests primarily on the property owners once the subject has been removed. It will be part of the program to educate business owners, residents, and visitors how to deal with biohazards and drug paraphernalia. The effectiveness of this program will be evaluated through tracking monthly statistics. If the motion is defeated tonight, without support of the agent program, we will continue to rely on the existing measures to manage encampments and trespassing. While these measures are important, the agent program would provide a more effective and timely solution benefiting both businesses and the wider community. So what are our next steps? We are excited to announce the launch of the agent program with a special meeting, a special event for November 20th with the RCMP Business Town Hall meeting. This event marks a significant step in rolling out the program and engaging with local businesses. This will be a key part of the launch and ensure that there is a clear coordination between enforcement agencies and business owners. To successfully execute this launch of this event, the program rollout, we are requesting a budget of $3,000. This budget will cover costs of the event materials, promotional items, door stickers, ensuring that enforcement agencies are properly equipped for the program. In conclusion, the agent program is an important initiative for our community, and this launch event is a key moment in bringing it to life. With the support of Town Council and the requested budget, we will be able to ensure that the program is implemented effectively with all necessary resources in place to support the businesses and enforcement agencies alike. With that, I am opening it up to any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Christensen, for that presentation. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Christensen? Go ahead, Councilor Chenard.
Through the mayor to Mr. Christensen. I'm fully supportive of it. I agree this won't solve the problem, solve the entire problem, but I believe it will save on the cleanup costs. So if we can catch it early, then they are responsible, but they won't have a mound of waste. So to me, and then the other thing, by having the sticker, they may clue in with a sticker on the property, this is not a good place to set up camp. So just a comment.
Thank you.
Councilor Taylor.
Through the mayor to council and administration in the gallery, I spoke about this last week, being supportive of the motion that's on the agenda here tonight. Happy that it's on this agenda here tonight. I'm also happy that we're able to implement the sign up and things like that, registrations for tomorrow night at the RCMP Town Hall, and looking forward to seeing those in-person visits as well. Just a couple of questions to Mr. Christensen. In terms of contacting businesses, are we also using our EDO and Economic Development Officer and the Chamber and RCMP members as well to get that word out to members? And if any businesses do have questions, you're okay directing them to your office, correct?
Yeah, thank you for the questions through the mayor to Councilor Taylor. Absolutely. Anytime any business wants to reach out to myself at the enforcement office, absolutely we'll take any calls in regarding to this program. Sorry, what was the first part of the question? Oh, yes. So we have reached out through some of the businesses and through the chamber to be able to pass this out. I'm waiting for a call back from the chamber to actually do some in-person stuff with the executive director. So.
Thank you. Council, any further questions, comments? Go ahead, CO Beveridge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity, there will be no additional budget requests. This will be absorbed within the budget. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Councillor Bevan.
Through the chair, to Mr. Christensen, you said once the subject is removed, it's responsibility of the owners to clean it up. Will there be anybody around there after the subject is removed, if the owners are cleaning up, that somebody else doesn't come by and want to get involved with the people cleaning up? Will you guys stick around, or anybody stick around?
Thank you for the question through the mayor to Councillor Bevlin. You know, we would probably stay in the area. What we're going to do is, you know, we're going to, Staff Sergeant and myself have had some discussions on how we're going to go forward with this program if it's not defeated tonight. And we're going to give these unhoused people an opportunity to remove their stuff prior. So, you know, we might give them an hour to get it off there, however long that we have to give them to get off of there. Once we come back and they're not gone, then we're going to make sure that they are off the property, and then we'll assist the businesses on figuring out, you know, if they want us to stick around for a bit while they do the cleanup. We'll work with those businesses throughout the program.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? So just further to your presentation last week, just a question in terms of coordination between the CPOs and the RCMP and ensuring that information is flowing. You mentioned last week of a spreadsheet. Well, if there is a situation which CPO removes somebody from a property, will they be contacting the RCMP so a file is created, or is it just going to be through a spreadsheet more informally?
Great question. So we're still trying to work out the little fine details of the program between myself and the RCMP. We're waiting for tonight to be completed, and then we're going to work on our process on how we're going to establish the communication between the both enforcement organizations. We've kind of had some preliminary talks, but we were going to wait till we actually had the approval before we went forward on that. So we've got some communication ideas that we're going to work on.
All right, thank you. Obviously, we have 17 to 25 RCMP officers, so trying to communicate to all those officers what's going on, it might be a little bit more difficult if we're not creating files. So, and also it plays into the statistics when we're looking at our crime stats as well, right? So those calls for service. So I'm in support of this program. It is not going to fix the broader issue that we have, which is the needs for housing, mental health, and addiction support. But we can have people trespassing on other individuals' property and camping illegally throughout the community. So with that, I will take a motion, please. Go ahead, Councillor Bevan.
I'll make a motion that council approve the implementation of the agent program.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Look forward to getting lots of businesses signed up tomorrow night. Next up, we have our Economic Development Officer, Morgan Roberts, presenting on the Small Communities Opportunity Program Grant Application Support. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you so much. So I am here tonight to seek endorsement of our application to the Small Communities Opportunity Program. This grant is provided by the Government of Alberta, and it's primarily to solve challenges and find opportunities in rural areas. Our application will be for business supports, which encompasses an ambassador program, small business skill development, and economic development capacity building. We are hopeful that we will receive your endorsement tonight, and the application will go in the coming weeks.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roberts. Council, do you have any questions? We did discuss this quite a bit during budget deliberations, so and it ties in nicely with our strategic plan. So thank you for bringing that forward. So with that, I will take a motion, Council. Go ahead, Councillor Chachka.
I move that council endorse the application for the Small Communities Opportunity Program grant to fund business supports within the town of Edson.
Thank you. Any debate on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that motion is carried unanimously. And next, you have the Northern and Regional Economic Development Program grant application.
Thank you very much. Similar to the last grant, we are seeking endorsement from council for our application for the Northern and Regional Economic Development Program grant. It is again provided by the Government of Alberta with a goal to support economic growth and diversification in northern and regional areas of the province. Our application will be going in for the Invest Edson project, which encompasses an investment portal and promotional materials for the community of Edson.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Any questions? Seeing none, I will take a motion, please. Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I move that council endorse the application for Northern Region Economical Development Program grant to be Fund Investment Edson project.
Thank you. Council, any further questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Denise McDonald, our Acting Chief Financial Officer, with our quarterly financial updates, and I believe Mr. Cobble's coming up as well.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. While Tyler's getting ready, he's going to help me go through the financials for you in pointing to the areas that I'm speaking to. So just to kind of start off, I have a little bit of a preamble to the financial statements. The purpose of this report is to provide council with an overview of the town's financial performance for the third quarter of 2024. Financial reporting policy indicates that the September 30th financial report will be provided in the second council meeting of October. Though it is late, this third quarter report meets the requirements of the policy to update council on revenues and expenditures and comparing to budget. The purpose of reporting is an update is to ensure a balanced operating budget. For 2024, the town is forecasting a balanced budget at year-end after all reserve transfers and adjustments are made. Our intention with this new format is to provide consistent reporting to council and to the public. We are recommending quarterly financial reports which show a statement of financial position, an income statement for the year compared to budget, reserves detail, capital work in progress, and the income statements for the three funds: taxation, utilities, and land. Finally included is the debt information that you have seen already in the budget process. We will report on investments within the financial report as part of the investment policy, and we are considering a separate area for investment reporting if you so desire. Presenting in this manner will support the audited financial statements that will have a similar format. However, please feel free to ask questions or provide input on the improvements we can make and meet council's desires. Certainly, this financial report is a start in the right direction. Some improvements in the process will be necessary to improve the reporting, such as reporting internally to the departments and working collaboratively to provide solid variance analysis from the department managers through finance and then on to council. For now, let's start with what we have, is the statement of financial position. I'll have to make that larger. So the statement of financial position, or the balance sheet, ensures that the municipality has enough financial assets to support its financial liabilities. Basically, it's a snapshot in time of the financial position of the municipality. So the first item on there, the cash and cash equivalents, this is our bank account and short-term investments. We have short-term investments in there of $22 million. The second line item is our accounts receivable. This would include our taxes receivable, which are $2.3 million, and it would also include our pre-authorized payments, which average approximately $485,000 per month. Then I'd like to bring to your attention the investments. The longer-term investments show up as 7.5 million. This is our long-term investments, and overall, our investments are earning us an average of 4.94%. Under deferred revenue, so you'll see in our financial liabilities, there's a deferred revenue portion of 10.9 million, and that includes the MSI, or the Local Government Fiscal Framework Grant, held to apply against the YCE Multiplex Capital Project. MSI at year end for 2023 was 8 million, and the ACRP, which is the Alberta Community Resiliency Program for Wass Creek, 1.9. This will be updated again at year end for more details. So as we learn more about the organization, we're providing more details as we go forward. The long-term debt is paid off within 2024 at this point is 470,000. And then we go down to the accumulated surplus. So the accumulated surplus has not been adjusted. Council has passed a motion with regards to reserves, and that motion was dated October. So this is as of September 30th and doesn't include that change in reserves. So you will see that as we move forward now, we will look at an income statement. And when you look at 2023 on the unrestricted surplus, that's the operating surplus from last year, 5.1 million in the right-hand column there. And so when income statements, the revenue and expenses close out at year end, the overall surplus gets posted there, but that is also cash and non-cash items included in there. Is there any specific questions from the balance sheet or statement of financial position that council has at this time? So the next area then is the income statement. So we're looking at the income statement from a variety of different perspectives. The first one is from the organization as a whole. So the first 4 line items are related to taxation. So municipal property tax, requisition, local improvements, and grant in lieu of property taxes are all property tax related. And you can see that we have a little bit of issues in that we should be budgeting for them individually. The budget for grant in lieu was missed. However, the actual is just broken down between those items based on what our expenses are. So we'll be able to next year in our taxation system post it directly to those GLs so that we know the accurate numbers that are going in there. Right now we've just allocated them on our own based on assumptions. So when you because the budget amount for grants in lieu of property taxes is not there, when you total those 4 lines up together, we are overstating our revenues by approximately $359,000. When we get to the user fees is our other major revenues in income. And we're sitting at 6.9 for budget and 5.1 million for actuals. And that includes that shows up as 74% of the budget, and we're on target for our user fees. When we look at investment income, we've budgeted 178,000, and we have at this point our actual is sitting at 1.2, approximately 1.3 million, based on our investment policy. And there's other investment income that has been allocated to other areas in the budget, such under the land division, that we will investigate how it's being posted there and why at year end, and perhaps reallocate it back. Total revenues for budget was established at 35.2 million, and we are currently sitting at 32.6 million for a total of 92% of our budgeted revenues. When we look at our expenses, salaries as a whole are sitting at 70% of budget for 3/4 of the year, so we're tracking under budget due to a number of vacant positions. When we go to materials, goods, and utilities, although most of the budget's been allocated there at 97%, we have a inventory recording error that is been posted as part of the annual entries. So at the end of the year, we create an inventory journal entry, which expenses it here and then moves it to inventory for consumption. And then at January, it's posted back. Something went wrong in that process, and we have it posted too early. And so we will be adjusting that at year end. So I apologize for that being in there. The next item on there is transfers to other governments. So you will see that it is blank for 2024. And yet when we look at 2023, transfers to other governments, it says 62,148. And that is due to transferring money for the 911 center to the Yellowhead County. It was coded to contracted services and contract and general services in 24. And so we'll have to adjust that entry and move it back so that they're comparable between the years. We have interest on long-term debt and principal debt payments. So when we look at these two entries, once the December 2024 payments for the water treatment plant are made, the debenture interest and principal expense will be on budget. Requisitions. So you'll see that requisitions that includes schools as well as the seniors home that we receive requisitions on. We pay them on a Q3, I believe we pay them on a monthly basis. And it reflects Q3 payments made today. Oh, it's quarterly. We pay them on a quarterly basis, and we're tracking on budget for it. Tax incentive program, I've left that on there. This is where you will see our tax incentive program show up. And currently, our tax incentive program is seamless in that it is reducing our revenue. So we budget for a certain dollar amount, and then the tax incentive program reduces that revenue. That's not a good way to show our revenues. We should have our full revenues, and then the tax incentive program should show up as an expense of council providing that program to the non-residential properties. And we will look at changing that entry at year end to ensure that it more accurately reflects going forward. It has been budgeted that way in 2025, so you'll see that change coming forward. Provision for allowances. Provision for allowances is actually our bad debt. However, what has been posted there is the amount for grant in lieu, that is the province. The province wants us to tax them for the full 100% of their properties, and then they only pay 50%. So the amount that they do not pay has been posted to this provision for allowances, and it should be reflected differently on the financial statement on the revenue side. So we'll have to correct this going forward. In addition, there's a prior year payment that the government paid late for 2023, and it's posting in 2024, which that should have been set up as a year-end entry.
If I could just stop you right there, Ms. McDonald.
Sure.
So do we know what is 50% of the provincial tax requisition that we should be getting in grants and lieu? Do you have that number available?
Do we have it in there? Okay, we'll get that back to you.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Yes, we want it to be accurate. I would want to say that because we've budgeted on our actuals, we have 236,000 on the revenue side, that it would be half of that, but we'll make sure you have the accurate number on that.
All right, thank you. I believe, just through to CEO Beveridge, I think Alberta Muniz is looking for that information as well.
Transfers to individuals and organizations, you'll see that that budget is sitting at 97%. I have to look at the line item. And that's tracking your budget. However, it includes our major grants paid for minor soccer. I apologize. Edson Minor Soccer Grant. Museum, Move Edson, Edson Cycling Society, and the Edson Cultural Heritage Organization. And so most of those payments are annual payments, and so that's why the percentage for the variance between budget and actual is quite high. That being said, our total expenditures for 2024 to date is sitting at 23.6 in comparison to the budget of 32.1 million, which is a 74% variance, which means we're tracking right on board. When we go to the section below, you'll see our internal transfers, and on the capital expenditures for work in progress, that's capital items that have not had are not completed, and revenue sources have not been applied to it. So that will be completed as we finish that capital work. I skipped over investment income on this. No, I didn't. It's on the next one. The next statement shows the operating budget by department. So you'll see general government would include legislative going forward. Those two should be grouped together, and then you'll see expenses on the bottom side. So what I wanted to bring to your time, I'm not going through each line item there because we've already discussed it as a whole, but I'm gonna pick out the ones that are, say, low on the revenue side. So when we look at protective services on the revenue side, the variance is 43%. And that is low due to the fine revenue not coming in as quickly as we anticipated. And if you recall, in the budget process for 25, we felt that that budget was unrealistic and we were bringing it down. So we know that that's going to be too high for us. Road, street, and equipment revenue is sitting at 16%. And that is end of the year internal rents that we need to, do I have the wrong page? Oh, yes, it's our internal rents. I had the note and I thought it was what was wrong. End of the year internal rents. So that's our internal, when you saw on those other pages where we have the internal charges, that it's all posted at the end of the year and the revenues will go up because of it. It all relates to fleet and the work done by the roads department to other departments. The next item on there is utilities is sitting at 75% revenue, and we have some unexpected revenue in there for cost sharing, as well as bulk water. I can't read my notes. Unexpected revenue is bulk water of 330,000 versus 180 budget, as well as lagoon disposal fees of 520,000 versus 150 budget. So you'll see that that revenue is unexpected for 2024, and 2025 we likely will not receive that kind of expected income. When we look at planning and development sitting at 21%, we have budgeted for, under land division falls in there as when it's under a group department area. And we budget for one expected land sale. At that time, there wasn't a land sale hit the books, and so the variance shows higher than it should be. It's speculative for budgeting purposes to hold that line item open. Recreation and parks, the variance is sitting at 49%. We're just starting in September our winter programs, and so those would be billed at the end of the month or in the month of October and wouldn't hit the books. As well as we haven't, when we look at the cost-sharing agreement with the county for recreation services, our mid-year amount is a nominal amount, and then we invoice them for their portion at the end of the year. So the revenues aren't showing what we would like them to show, and I believe we've asked them for a more reasonable mid-year payment for our cost sharing on rec and culture. When we look at the expense side, rec and culture, 71% is slightly under budget. Most of the others are quite well below the 75% we would expect at third quarter. And culture is at 96%, and that's due to the library and nonprofit organization payments, which are three installments per year versus quarterly. So they've already got most of their payments for the year. So the next page would show our reserve forecast. So you've seen the sheets already. What's different about this that we hadn't anticipated is we're trying to restate December 31st, 2003 to reflect the new policy. That's fine, and you've already seen it. But because it's September 3rd and council passed the motion for the allocation of accumulated surplus, that transaction didn't happen until October. So I can't report it in September 30th. So some of the amounts are unusual and hadn't anticipated, like for instance, general government going down, and that's because the accumulated surplus in October was to allocate to some of those reserves to bring them up from a negative balance, if you remember that. And so you'll see by year end, it'll be more what we expected. And if you compare it to the sheet that I gave you before, the blue colored sheet, it matches, the first column and the last column matches. It's just that we're in transition right now. The one that I wanted to bring to your attention is offsite. So you'll see that the offsite changed in the second line under restricted reserves. It includes a road payment from Pivotal of $815,000. And other than that, we had a budgeted draw from reserves for the warming center that hit rec and culture. So you'll see that amount is number 6 is rec and culture is changing there, going up to increase it so that we can draw it out when the work actually gets done. So part of the reserve policy is to verify that it's funding. So we're showing you this in transparently what our cash and investments are totaling $43.9 million, and our reserves are sitting at $30.3 million. So we're well funded for reserves, as well as when we look at our deferred revenue, we're sitting at 10.9. We are also funding that deferred revenue, which is earmarked for the YCE capital multiplex capital project. And again, we have not at this point done our actual draws to and from reserves for the reserve policy. However, our goal would be to do that in June so that you can see the comparison of those entries in a second quarter financial statement. The next page will show us, these will get quicker as we go, I promise. We show you the work in progress for capital. So we have 31 capital projects. 8 are not complete at this point, and we are expecting, 8 are complete, and we only expect 2 projects to carry forward to 2025. Please note that the second column is not year-to-date, it's life-to-date, and it aligns with the previous reporting from the infrastructure manager that was presented to council earlier this year. When we look at the grand total of the capital work, our budget was 96.2. Our actuals are 12.2 million, which is 13%. However, we have a large project in budget amount in there for the YCE multi-use facility. And when we take that one out, as well as the two deferred projects, we're sitting at 62% of budget. So we're making really good progress on our capital work. We have the rest of the quarter to complete that work and then close it out for year end. Then we look at the income, the same income and revenue split up between taxation, utility, and land division. So for taxation, our revenues are sitting at 99%. So that seems realistic because that's where all our tax revenue goes. And our expenditures are sitting at 72%. Overall, there is a surplus that's subject to change at the end of the year. And again, you'll see that 7.7 million for capital expenditure work in progress. That revenue has not been, that work has not been allocated a revenue source at this point. So we are expecting more surplus than that. So then the next page is our utility fund. And again, you'll see at the top our percentage. If you can just slide down to the total percentage of revenues. I didn't print that page off. So the total percentage for revenues is sitting at 75%. And again, we do have some unforeseen user fee revenues. And we do have 9 of 12 months posted for utility billing and collection. Our penalties are sitting at 12,701 of the budget, and that is due to the penalty rate for utilities is sitting at 2.5%. I believe council recently increased that rate in order to make it more collectible. When we look at the expenses side under utilities, our expenses are sitting at 82%. And if we took out that, remember there was that inventory error issue. If we took that inventory out, we would be sitting at 63% of budget. So they're sitting in a good position there. It does show a deficit, but again, you'll see that our capital expenditures on the bottom, that is an expense item that will be closed out as those projects are completed, and we'll have a revenue source to support it. And so it should be in a better position by the end of the year. The land division, you'll see some of the errors that we have occurred here. So I was talking earlier about the investment income. We believe that this investment income is related to the municipal cash in lieu of reserve, municipal public trust restricted reserve. And it shouldn't be posted to this account anyway. And so we will investigate that and remove that entry by year end. However, when you scroll down, you'll see that there's salaries posted also to this that hasn't been budgeted for, and there's contracted in general services that has been budgeted and not, there's no actual. So there will be invoices, I believe, by the end of the year for the contracted, but the salaries is posted to the wrong department. And is due to some of our issues with budgeting prior to reorg and not changing the budget to reflect that. So that will, I believe, we'll clean that up before year end. Then the next page will show our, just repeating our debt projections. We will include this in our quarterly financials so that you can see our debt projections and our debt payment and our debt limit worksheet, because that's something relevant to council. And with that, I thank you for your time and look forward to any questions or improvements that you may suggest us include in the next quarterly, which would be in March.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald and Mr. Goebel. Council, any questions? A lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of numbers. Councillor Bevan.
Through the chair to Denise or Tyler there, you said our potable water, we got $330,000 for that. Where in here does it say that we sell our water from our lagoon out here? Where is that captured in there?
Through the chair to Councillor Bevan, that 330,000 was due to bulk water sales. Yes. Where is it recorded? Or are you asking for, I guess I need clarification on the question.
I think what Councillor Bevan is asking is where is the revenue from the recycled, the gray water from? Is that what you're asking, Councillor?
Yeah, from the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could I defer the question to the general manager? Thank you.
Okay, let's.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The revenue line in our budgets for both bulk water and the recycled, I believe. But most of this, Cascade has been grabbing actually from our bulk water station all year. They weren't grabbing the recycled water because it didn't meet the spec. So they had a specific chemical that they needed balanced, and it wasn't meeting it. So they've been taking from the bulk water station.
Councillor Bevan.
So over the years, it has fallen off from people buying it out there, that's going to the bulk water then, eh?
Thank you. Council, any other questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. McDonald and Mr. Goebel, and it looks like you still have a lot of work cut out for you, so I think we'll give you a break over Christmas, but thank you very much. And with that, can I get a motion, please? Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I move that council accept the quarterly financial reports for period ending September 30th, 2024 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Chenard. All those in favor? That motion is carried unanimously. All right, thank you very much. We will go to council committee reports. We're going back to November the 6th. And today we will start with Councillor Chachka.
Okay, on November 12th, I had a Zoom meeting with Alicia from RPEP, which is Rural Health Professions Action Plan, in relation to building a terms of reference for the Doctor Attraction Committee. She is turning out to be a really helpful resource in that, and does plan on attending our first meeting that we're going to have, and possibly a few others too, to continue offering those supports. And then also on November 12th, I attended the Housing Needs Assessment Workshop. Following that, on the same day, was a Committee of the Whole meeting. On November 13th, as a part of the Doctor Attraction Committee, we are changing the name to Attraction and Retention Committee of Edson, which kind of better aligns with the objectives of the committee. So Marcia from the foundation and I did a small presentation to the chamber on that. And the same day, on November 13th, I attended the 2025 operating and capital budget meeting. And on today, November 19th, I had a YCE steering committee meeting as well.
Thank you, Councillor Chenard. There we go, perfect.
November 12th, the housing need assessment. Also the same night is committee of the whole meeting, and November 13th, the budget meeting. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bevan.
On the 12th, the Housing Needs and Assessment Committee of the Whole meeting, and on the 13th, budget meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Pisichny.
I'm not ready.
Moving on, Councillor Taylor.
On November 7th, I attended only one portion of the Youth Council Facilities Tour, which is the RCMP station, because I hadn't been back there yet. But the youth had a great time on their facilities tour. I'm sure they'll be talking more about it at our next meeting, but they did have a great time on the tour. Also on November 7th, I attended a homelessness task force meeting where we went over sort of a planning for the RCMP Town Hall, which is, of course, tomorrow at the Friendship Center at 7 o'clock. And all businesses are welcome to attend. On the 12th, the Housing Needs Assessment Workshop, also on the 12th, Committee of the Whole meeting. The 13th was a budget meeting. And on the 15th, I also had another Homelessness Task Force meeting with our executive directors. So, and that is my report.
Thank you. Are you ready now, Councillor Pacici? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So November 7th, Alberta Air Tours, we all got to receive that award. November 11th, the mayor was away, so I got to attend Remembrance Day and give a speech on his behalf. November the 12th, Housing Needs Assessment. November the 12th, Committee of the Whole. November the 13th, Chamber of Commerce Board meeting, and I had the opportunity to talk about the agent program there, and it was very well received. So when they go to talk to them, they'll be more than happy to share that information with their members. November 13th, budget. November 18th, we had a pre-meeting for YCE, and then today we had the YCE meeting with our county.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I'm going to go back a little further because I was not here for November the 6th. I hear the Deputy Mayor did a wonderful job chairing the meeting. Yeah. It's like almost like he sat in this chair before. October the 18th, attended the library opening. The 19th, the budget meeting and public engagement session. 21st, the town YCE steering committee meeting. 23rd, Councillor Chachka couldn't attend, so I attended on her behalf the Community Care Foundation meeting where we talked about attraction recruitment. Some really interesting information from AHS is that we are short, just AHS alone is short 4 mental health workers in our community right now. And they're only a small segment because we have a number of organizations that employ mental health workers. So they're desperate and they have postings out for those positions. And then there was some discussion about the doctors that are looking to come into the community. One is supposed to have received his credentials at that time from the College of Physicians and Surgeons, but had not yet received it. I'm not sure if that has changed since then. And our colleagues from Yellowhead County attended as well, and they got to ask some questions and were able to get better informed what the retention committee would be doing. So it was a really, really good meeting. The Community Care Foundation itself is working on their fundraiser in the spring and talked about some of the needs in the community. On the 28th, I attended the Community Rail Advocacy Association meeting. They members have indicated a much better service with CN over the last year, marked improvement from CN, and they actually met with CN. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend here just a couple weeks ago. So the conversations with CN continue, and the membership decided not to further expand. Most of the members are from Northern Alberta, and we want to focus on Northern Alberta. So that seems to be where most of the issues are. So that was good. 12th, the Housing Needs Assessment, the Committee of the Whole. 13th, the budget meeting. On the 18th, I attended the West Yellowhead Regional Management Waste Authority meeting. We approved our budget. Mixed waste is going to go from $170 to $200 just to better match what other landfills are charging. And so far, they have received 5,000 metric tons of waste from Jasper, with a lot more expected. Most of that's just from businesses. The residential hauling into the landfill has not occurred yet. There is a lot of, I guess, I wouldn't say a lot of concern. There's some concern in Hinton about the landfill accepting the waste, and misinformation that Hinton actually owns that landfill. It's not owned by the town of Hinton. It's actually owned by all 5 municipalities, and decisions regarding that landfill are made by the authority members. So there will be some information going out to the public in regards to that, as well as to clarify any misinformation that's being spread, that we have appropriate approvals and permits in place, and that waste is actually being dealt with in the most environmentally responsible way possible. And then had a YCE pre-meeting yesterday, and then the YCE meeting today. Also on the waste management, fluorescent tubes are going to go from $3.75 down to $1. So if you are have a lot of fluorescent tubes that you need to dump, there will be a savings there for you. And that is my report. Not in Hinton. Moving on, information items, RCMP Q2 2024 reports. Can I get a motion, please, to accept for information? Go ahead, Councillor Chenard.
I'll make the motion to accept, where are we at here? Council accept the November 19th, 2024 information as set out in attachment 1 to 3 for information.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns about that? Seeing none, all those in favor, that motion is carried. We have notices of motion, no notices of motion, no business arising from, that's wrong, yeah. Can I get a motion to go into closed session pursuant to section 24 of the FOIP Act? Go ahead, Councillor Pisichny.
I'll move we go into closed session as per the FOIP Act.
All right, thank you. All those in favor? That motion's carried. All right, thank you, everyone, and I will adjourn this meeting.